To be frank, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but Adin Ross is the gayest straight person.
No, you're the one who didn't back off.
You're actually gay.
He's that one friend that everyone has that pushes it just a little bit too far. He'll walk up to the line, carefully cross it, and then proceed to sprint as fast as he can into uncharted territory. Naturally, this creates animosity as well as love, which makes him a successful streamer. But people question Adin's motives. Is this innocent or unknowing? Or is this guy planning this out? Are there plans behind the scenes that have led Adin to channel this villain energy? Some of the recent videos and events have caused people to question this. Is Adin being genuine? Now, Adin is always quick to write an apology video, but go through this cycle a couple times and people tend to lack the grace they did on the first time around. On a side note, Adin being impulsive allows him to experiment a lot, more than most people, meaning he has the opportunity to see what resonates with people and what doesn't. And arguably, this is the most important thing, but he does really bend the rules. Today, we're gonna learn more about Adin Ross and his successes, and what strategies he's used to be successful, while at the same time, trying to maintain his image. Right here on The Science of Winning. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Adin Ross. Today we're going to break down the strategies that he's used to be successful. We're going to look at the path that he has chosen, the ever-present turns that he had to make during his career that have led him where he is today. This doesn't work, except for the laser pointer. Sorry. You know, you can get arrested for this. If I did this outside.
This is what it looked like on the receiving end of this laser attack near Orlando Saturday. 19-year-old Trevor Rango now charged with a felony.
Arrested. You're probably wondering, what is the first slide? Well, it's not what you think. Carl Jung was a famous psychologist in the 1950s, 60s era, and the concept that he talks about is actually really similar to what we see with Adin. Bear with me, guys. This is a little peculiar, but this is a phrase called harnessing your shadow. You see, when Adin was going through his life, going through his career, trying to navigate the right turns, you can arguably say that it's when he decided to dig deep and to channel some of that energy, good or bad, he used it to propel him forward. And I think there's a really powerful statement in that. We hear so much about people saying the reason why will get you to do just about anything. It is imperative in goal setting to have the correct reasons why. I think Adin's reasons are really what caused him to blow up over pretty much everyone else. I wish Adin would be more open about kind of what's going on in his mind, although he says a lot of things, but I do think he keeps a couple things close to the chest, and I think this is one of them. I didn't realize how crazy this looks. However, this concept is definitely being used. You guys awake over there? Oh, I'm sorry. Can't get demonetized for this, can I? Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, this is the very beginning of Adin's journey, at least on YouTube. So for those of you who don't know, Adin is a streamer. So what he does is he gets on a platform like Twitch, which we'll talk about a little bit later, and he collects the best parts of that stream, strings them together, and then puts them on YouTube. So he's kind of hitting two birds with one stone when he does this. A lot of other people do this, iShowSpeed does it. But the biggest part about this kind of opening journey is really the content. So what a lot of people say is you want to go to where the content already is, okay? So 2K obviously being a big audience already on YouTube, decides to put himself in that same arena, same area, and begin to create or differentiate himself based off of that. I want us to pay attention to that video. And the reason being is you don't really know what's gonna do well on your channel until maybe even years later. This is a good example. W angle, am I right? Okay, so look at this. We have two videos here. We have highlights, funny Twitch moments, which is really just a personality video for Adin. And then we have him kind of like a 2K one-on-one with LeBron James's son, which is pretty sick. But look at these graphs. This is interesting. You guys see the laser pointer? You guys see that? So a month after he posted that video, had 5,000 views. And a month after he posted this one, 7,000. So initially you think this video is doing better, but in the long run, Adin will continue to use these moments on his channel. And the reason being is people watch the streams for Adin. And he's done an amazing job at coming into a content stream that already exists, building up a loyal audience, and then kind of bringing them somewhere else. And we'll see this a lot with a lot of these creators. Boom. This is massive. This was one of the quotes that came to mind when researching this. You can't connect the dots looking forward. It's only when you turn around, look at them in the rear view mirror where things make sense. Shout out Steve Jobs. I don't know what that is. W slideshow. Okay, so what is the first thing that really popped for Adin? Well, in this case, it was this video. Now again, like I was saying in the last slide, you don't know what's clear until retrospect. The personality thing was kind of foreshadowing what's gonna happen in the future. But in this moment of Adin's career, 2K was popping off like we saw. He had bigger numbers on that last video, but this one really landed. And this guy right here, Neon, I believe that's how you say his name, is really a disciple of Adin Ross, if we're being honest. After just 7 days, guys, look at that. This was like 10x of views that Adin ever had on his channel up until that point. That's huge. Him being successful, or him having that first really pop moment, that breakout moment, caused him to film this video. Okay, another thing about Adin is he really leans into that sus arc, if you can even call it that. I mean, this is his voice.
And last but not least, before you like this video, make sure you sub and put the thumbs up. And also don't forget to
2K community. Bro, it's crazy to me how far I've came, and I want to let everyone know that you're literally here before I blow up, bro. You're here before I blow up. I haven't blown up yet. If you're in this right now, you are rocking with me before I blow up. This is nowhere near where I'm going to be in the next year. I want to let everyone know right now. We almost, bro, I just can't wait to show you guys what I have. I literally envisioned it, like, I'm gonna speak this shit all in existence, bro. And I want to show you guys a tweet to motivate you guys something, bro. One day Adin Ross will be somebody. I tweeted this out in 2018. You guys are not gonna be able to find this tweet, but look at this, bro. I want this to motivate you guys.
The cool thing about this video is that's the connection that Adin has with his audience. I know only like 22,000 people watch that, but of those 22,000 people, those are like his ride or die members. I mean, every content creator that we see, at least, that really pops off has that core, really passionate zealots, if you will, that are just diehard for their brand. So this is, it's cool to see. Definitely a video that I'm sure Adin looks back on and is, brings a smile to his face. But I had to stop it there because he got derailed so fast, like after that. So for some time, Adin would continue with his 2K saga. And eventually he started to realize, oh, people like me for me. I have a good personality for this, so I'm gonna start to experiment with some different content sources. And one thing that was kind of trending back then was e-dates. So, I mean, here's the proof in the pudding. These two were outliers on his channel. I mean, at this time, he was getting around maybe 100,000 views a video. You know, to 5x that, to 3x that, that's just goes to show. It's important to experiment, because honestly, if Adin just kept doing those 2K videos, I don't think he'd be where he is today. Which means Adin was tapped in and he knew what was up, if we're being real. Boom, that one's for free. There's thousands of videos. There's so many videos on Adin's YouTube channel right now, and hours and hours and hours on, maybe not on Twitch anymore, which we'll get to, but I'm just picking the things that I think stood out, and this was a huge moment. So at the time, he was kind of experimenting with some of that, with some different content. He was doing the e-dates, as I mentioned before. But when he started getting into GTA role-playing, he met some pretty influential people. One of which being this guy, T Grizzly. That really opened the door for him later. That is actually a really big moment in Adin Ross's career, as we'll find out. So I don't want to talk about all of Adin's journey, if you can call it that. He has this, what I call kind of gross relationship phase. At this point in Adin's career, he's kind of, I don't want to say floundering, he's trying to find out what's working. So it's kind of in this weird spot because he's kind of totally done with 2K. The e-date thing is kind of drying up a little bit, so he has to find kind of a new leg, or bucket, as Daryl Eves calls it. Daryl Eves is a YouTube consultant for Mr. Beast, and a YouTube bucket is a category on a YouTube channel. So cringy relationship content would be a bucket for Adin, as he would find out. This was maybe 10x outlier. I mean, at this time, he's probably getting 200,000 views, so a little bit more, but I mean, that is certainly an outlier on his channel, especially at that time. And so Adin started to run with this and essentially kind of did anything he could to find out what would work for that. So like I was saying before, that connection with T Grizzly really put him on the map in the rap community. So he got some rappers to come over, freestyle, and did super well. So Lil TJ came over, they freestyled, and that was a big outlier video. And as we'll see, and as you know, Adin Ross, the best moments on his channel are from this bucket category of him live streaming rappers and freestyling. In fact, it's the top video on his channel where he freestyles with Lil Uzi Vert. It's actually a good freestyle, I'm not gonna lie. Then there he is with Lil Tecca, who at that time, 2 years ago, Lil Tecca 2 years ago was like MJ, 96, 97. Maybe not that crazy, but he had some serious motion. I wanna fast forward a little bit, and I wanna talk about where Adin Ross is right now. So right now, Adin Ross and Jack Doherty, if you don't know who Jack Doherty is, he has very similar content to what we're doing right here, what Adin's doing right there. Basically, you just get a lot of toxic people in the same room. You live stream it, and things happen, you know there's drama, and you kind of just make content about that drama. It's honestly Bravo for kids, like Bravo, the TV network, for like middle school, high school, basically. But I don't want that to take away from what Adin Ross has done. He's built something remarkable, and now he's at a place where he has a lot of influence, and it's been kind of a challenge for him just to be a good influence on people, unfortunately. Recently, having all those rappers around, he naturally got addicted to lean, or liquor, as he calls it. And that's unfortunate, because a lot of people see that and maybe have tried lean because of Adin Ross. But it's also good because he's also very vocal about being against it. And hopefully a lot of people would just live vicariously through Adin Ross and not have to kind of go through that arc on their own. Well, I was foreshadowing this before, but Adin Ross got banned from Twitch. And for good reason. He had a chop up that had some offensive language on there and offended a lot of people. So that's not super good. As you can see here, offensive slurs typed by viewers. So although it wasn't directly him, it was his viewers, that could probably tell you a couple things, but in the same token, whenever you have that many people, that much attention to one place, you're bound to attract a lot of different types of people. Now, Adin Ross has had some interesting influences in his life, and Andrew Tate being one of them. Now the question, has Andrew Tate been a good influence on Adin? Now, despite Andrew Tate's very, very controversial topics and opinions, in a lot of ways, on Adin, he's been a great influence. Kind of told him things that no one else really had the platform to tell him. And Adin listened because he respected him. And it's Andrew Tate, what are you gonna do? Now at this point in Adin's life, he was addicted to lean, as I mentioned before, and Andrew Tate wasn't having it. So he really encouraged him to be vocal about not only fighting it, but getting it out of his life, encouraged him to work out, which I think lasted for a little bit. But in this scenario, Andrew was a good influence on Adin, which is interesting. Now, unfortunately, some of the villain arcs with Adin Ross come at the worst times. You see, when Adin tends to, dare I say, flounder between trying to find the content strategy that works for him, tends to get a little desperate, tends to get a little even complacent at times. Being complacent has left room for not only the lean addiction, but also just not being a good influence. And for a lot of the people in that crew, with Kick on the rise, I mean, who knows where it's gonna be in the future. Now, Kick is a lot like Twitch, but on Kick, there is a lot less censorship. Well, here we are in the car. And actually, we just did a video on this man here, Punch Made Dev. He's on Kick with Neon. Now, Neon was that guy that we just saw in Adin's really first big kick. That was the person that they were fighting in 2K. And as I said before, there's not a lot of censorship. See, he's cleaning out an account. I'm calling the cops. So that's unfortunate, but good thing people have common sense, and for the most of us, they can avoid that. So it's interesting to see where this platform is going to be in a couple years with more content creators like Neon, Adin, and Jack Doherty on it. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot more villain arcs by the time things wrap up.